Mādadayo is a really interesting film, and it comes from its sheer simplicity. The movie is told very straightforwardly, but it is beautiful for that. The movie is about a college professor who retires and buys a new house while Japan is at war. None of this is too complicated in my opinion, but what makes this stand out is that Kurosawa once said, there is one theme that connected all his movies. It is the question, why can't we be happy together? While Mādadayo wasn't intended to be Kurosawa's final film, to me it seems he inverted his theme because the movie is people happy together. The movie is about how the professor is able to get through the hardships in his life with the help of the people around him. At its simplest, the movie's message is that it is easier to get through life with other people. Kurosawa shows this by showing the professor go through hardships, and I would like to go through those. First is war. The movie shows the deteriorating situation of Japan towards the end of the war, with food becoming increasingly scarce. But in a humorous scene, the professor still makes sure that there's enough food for everyone at his party. As the war progresses, the bombings start, and his house is burned down. The professor and his wife survive, but they are now homeless, and they end up living in a small shack. Here again, he is helped by his former students, who come together to build the professor a new house. With the help of his students, the professor is able to weather out the war years. The second hardship is loss. In the movie, that is shown by the professor's cat running away. The professor is distraught over this disappearance, and despite him and his students' best efforts, they are not able to find his cat again. The professor never forgets his cat, and I like that he doesn't have to move on. He is allowed to feel bad about it. When something is lost, you can never get it back, so how can you move on? When his wife finds another cat, he loves it. But what I like is that the new cat isn't a replacement, it is a different cat. Despite this hardship that leaves the main character distraught, he tells his friends that he was able to pull through due to everyone's kind words. While those words didn't get his cat back, the words showed people thought about him, and to that he knew he wasn't alone. Another recurring theme in this movie is nature as well, a hardship too. Its superiority to man is constant. One of the best scenes, in my opinion, in the movie is the change of season scene, showing the couple trying to live in their shack through the coldness of winter and the heat of summer and the tranquility of fall. One, it is classic Kurosawa. Movement and change are present themes in any of his movies. And on top of that, it is depicting man trying to live in nature and together too. Just so many layers, and he just shows it simply through visuals and a beautiful scene with no dialogue, perfectly encasing the emotions and feelings of these characters. But I am not sure if these words capture it. I suppose to put it simply, Kurosawa made these characters as people, not just characters, but humanity, who is often in opposition to nature, are in themselves nature. The professor ages, and in the last sequence of the film, we see that he isn't what he used to be, and sadly that is inevitable. None of his problems are solved by other people. He'll never get his original house back from the fires. He didn't get his cat back, and he will grow old, but he can live happily with people who supported him as he supported them, who can laugh with him and mourn with him. He can remember his past and live in the present. In 1990, 3 years before this film was released, Kurosawa said to an audience that he didn't feel he understood cinema yet. With this movie, he was, as it seems, trying to understand and portray real life and its hardships. And he did so in a really chill movie. He is able to get these messages across really well. The movie has no action, but it doesn't need that. It just shows the life of a human in parts. Perhaps we will never understand cinema. If we knew how to make the perfect movie, why would we keep making them? I can respect such a brilliant director to admit that he doesn't know everything, but to continue to try, knowing that the goal will never be reached. Mādadayo is about living together and how we must be supportive and good, that being alive is beautiful.